Hey everybody, what's going on? We are the Wise Truth team, 50% of the Wise Truth team, coming to you direct with the second video of our educational series, Reviving Education. Now, this video is going to be about how do you own education, basically stating how are you able to use education to your advantage. Like we've been saying, education is not limited to an institution. So you have to go out and you have to pursue it. So let's start off with the question addressing how can you use education to your advantage, basically. Got anything to add?
I do. First, let me say I am in education. I work at a middle school. I teach at a middle school. And so I understand, the value of education. I believe Brother Danny here last video said, that we're not bashing schools or different institutions or anything like that. But there's more to it than what's being taught in the schools. And so how do you use or own education? I think once you understand the value, of education, then you own it differently. So you start to apply it to everything you do, from something as simple as cooking, like watching YouTube or Facebook things, and to make yourself a better cook, to be diverse in that, to something as complex as actually going back to an institution and studying medicine or being a lawyer. So I think once you understand and value education, you even use education in your relationships. You can use education just in every aspect of life. There's not one aspect of life I can think about that you cannot figure out a way to educate yourself on how to be better in that aspect of life. And once you understand that, that's how you become your own education. Because once you understand yourself and you understand the things that you like to do, the things that you are maybe not have that much knowledge in, then you can look those things up. Whether again it's in an institution, whether it's at home, whether it's doing your own personal researching in a group, whatever that may be, whatever that looks like for you. Once you understand that education is a part of every aspect of your life, then I think that's the way you truly own it and you truly make it a part of you.
Yep. I agree 100% with everything that Alex said. One thing that stood out to me is when she said, when you understand yourself, you understand what you're good at. A lot of people don't understand the things that they do well. So sometimes you have to go out and actually ask people, especially people who are really close to you, what is it that I do well? Because that can very well make a future for you and the people that you love. A lot of times we try to go and pursue education, higher education at that, and try to figure out who we are. And sometimes it kind of dampens creativity, just depending on what your major is, because I know a lot of people who were in a major such as mine. I was in industrial engineering technology. You really can't use your own creativity to enhance that degree. Everything is set in stone. Like it's a book by book type of thing. So if I wanted to use my creative public speaking skills, I could, but it would be very limited because I'm in supply chain. And public speaking is okay. Knowing how to speak to people definitely helps you, but it's not going to completely transform the position you could get within supply chain or whatever else other majors are out there. We want to address different aspects of education. So I'll list them off and then we can go more in depth one by one. So the first aspect is school or higher education. Even grade school all the way up to college, it all counts. Trade school, which is something that is very important that people do not utilize. Research, so basically researching something that you feel that you're good at. Try to find things out there that can help you master it. And the last thing is mentors. A mentor is definitely an aspect of education. So let's start off with school, higher education. Both of us have degrees from the same institution, Purdue University, and we utilized the time and the stuff that we learned at Purdue to get us into our fields. It definitely helped, but we also understand other ways to be more creative, to enhance ourselves in a way. I know for a fact that some things in school I did not learn. A lot of stuff I had to learn outside of school, because in the classroom setting, you're not going to be able to teach somebody how to do taxes. You're not going to be able to teach somebody how to invest in the stocks and things like that. You actually got to go out and look for that yourself, which I do believe that you should teach stuff like that in school, because it is allowing people to make a future. It's allowing people to make income off of that skill, and also learning that. Anything to add?
I think, yeah, so with school, I'm going to go a little bit below higher education and talk about primary and secondary education, like elementary school, middle school, high school, because I tell my students all the time, like, even if you're not going to go to college, maybe not to trade school, whatever you do in your life, you learn certain skills by being disciplined in school, and that's one skill that you're learning. That's one way of education. So education, I think, is painted in the schools as simply as just being like math and science and these core subjects, but you're also learning how to behave in a professional setting. And I have this talk with my students all the time, like, there's a way you talk outside with your friends, there's a way you talk to adults, to your teachers, there's a way you act in the classroom versus the way you may act out in gym or wherever. So just teaching them how to maneuver and behave in different settings. That's another skill that they're learning, that they're acquiring, that they're being educated on in the schools. Again, time management. You have all these different assignments you have to turn in, and so just understanding, like, okay, I have this much time to turn this in. Even just balancing, like, I have 8th graders, so preparing them for high school, I tell them, I start teaching them how to look at, all right, you have an F in this class and a C in this class, like, which more is important to bring up, and just teaching them how to kind of prioritize and things like that. So I think even in primary and secondary education, students are learning these skills, and they're being educated on these skills inadvertently. Like, they don't even know that that's what they're learning. But I think because there's such a negative perception on education, especially like in the schools, because it's like, I'm not going to use calculus ever again, I'm not going to you're not learning those things. And I tell them, this is true. Like, I couldn't tell you the last time I did a squared plus b squared in my daily life. Like, I can't tell you when, but it prepares you for different parts of your life. Like, you use time management, and not only in school, at work, for your job, even doing the wise truth. We got to have time management, we got to have commitment, we have to have balance, all this other stuff. And these are stuff that you were learning in school. And I feel like if we are more vocal about that with the kids and tell them, like, hey, I'm not saying that you're going to use this to go on, but what are you using? What type of education are you getting by sitting in this classroom and being disciplined enough to sit down and learn these different things? Whether you're going to go to college, whether you're going to go to a trade school, whatever you're going to do, you're still learning. I think you need to, like, especially in the primary and secondary education levels, I think we need to begin to expand their minds on what education looks like.
After everything we just said, primary and secondary education has a lot of things that you can learn that'll make you enhance yourself, which goes hand in hand with owning education. And it also has a lot of things that you aren't taught, that you might want to question and go out and pursue it yourself, and it allow you to own education in that aspect as well. So moving on to trade schools. A lot of people don't understand that college isn't for everybody. Going to university isn't for everybody. So you have to understand that isn't the only way as far as schooling. You can go get a trade in electricity. You can be an electrician. You can be a diesel mechanic. You can do all these things at a trade school and still be successful. You're owning education because you're specifically learning how to perform that job function. For example, I have a friend. He went to trade school to be a diesel engineer. Now, it took about 2.5 years. He graduated, and he also picked up an associate's degree in the process. With all that being said, he is now considered a fully licensed diesel mechanic, being able to work on semis for a living. And he makes good money doing it because he understood that going to a university for 4 years is not going to be beneficial for him, and he's not going to be able to really adapt to that type of environment and really own his education. So he figured out another way to do it. Trade schools are very underrated, and I believe people should go out and research them more because they have a lot of prominent people who went to trade school that are very successful in those fields. Also, you can go to trade school to learn about business. If you want to be an entrepreneur, trade school and business can help you succeed that quicker. It's just a few years, couple years, whatever, how long it is, you can be successful. And trade school is not a bad thing because I know they get bad reps. They get bad reps, but they are absolutely fantastic for those people who don't want to go to university for 4 years.
I totally agree. They definitely do not get the credit that they deserve.
Right.
And I think it's because, again, we try to place kids from primary school up on a certain track.
Yep.
And so in doing that, we put levels on certain. We just live in a level society, so it's always like a university is better than a college is better than a JUCO. You know, it's just a community college or whatever. And you try to level things, and you put trade schools at the bottom. And so if you're trying to just put these kids on a track to go straight to college or straight to a university, that's what you're pushing them.
Yep.
Or on the other hand, you're pipelining them and getting them ready for whatever the track is. It's never a trade school track. Like, it's rarely, and I do enjoy that. I know our schools, some of the high schools around here, you can graduate from high school with some type of license in a trade, which I think is good. So I think there is a bigger push now, but I think when we were in school, like our generation, there wasn't a big, like, trades were actually looked down upon. So like, nobody ever said like you're gonna make good money. It was you're the best. You're gonna make money if you go get your bachelor's. Like, trades weren't even involved, and I think that's not good. Like, trades are definitely, first of all, they're needed, because who else is gonna do those jobs? And then secondly, again, they have room for growth, just like any other position. Just like if you go for a 4-year degree, 2-year degree, whatever, you still have the room for the same growth. You still have the opportunity to make money. So yeah, I agree with that.
Agreed. And the next thing on the aspects of education is research. A lot of people don't want to pursue school at all, and that's okay. But nowadays, at the tip of our fingers, we have the capability of going on the internet and learning how to do something. You can literally go to YouTube and figure out how to change your brakes, how to change your lights, how to fix a hole in your wall, how to do that. A lot of that stuff people picked up being self-taught. There are a lot of people who are self-taught with photography and creative businesses that are thriving, and they allow themselves that extra source of income because they do not want to work for somebody else, because they look at it as continuing to make somebody else's dream come true, but they realize that they need to make their own dreams come true. So being able to go out on the internet and research something that is important to you, and you own it in that way, you create a life that you never know you would have. It's very important. Like, if right now, I can go on YouTube and learn how to public speak. You can literally learn from videos, seminars that people have put on, and they dissect on what's important about public speaking. It's literally that easy, but people really don't think about it that way, because all we see in the media is videos of hip-hop, all the different music genres. We see all the other things on YouTube. We forget that it can be used to empower ourselves, and that's very important.
Yes, I think along with education, there needs to be education about how to properly use technology that we have, because we don't even use it to its full capacity. Just even like, as you said, like researching social media, whatever, like we're not utilizing it to its full capacity, because it actually could work wonders in a lot of ways. But I think research is huge, especially researching on your own. You mentioned earlier about the things you're not taught in school, or the things you question in school. That's the time that you go and you research it on your own to find the truth. And I think it's important to research things on your own, mentally, physically, spiritually, like all, holistically. I think we should always be looking stuff up for ourselves. And I think that goes a lot with like our viewpoint and how we view education. If you view it with such high value, of course you're gonna, go ahead and research different things and etc. But yeah, I think research is definitely huge. One thing I research is things that I'm not very conscious of or strong in. So like, I don't like cooking. I'll research, how to make something. I follow like Tasty. I save the page, and find out different recipes. One thing that I definitely, I study psychology, so I love watching videos about romantic relationships, family relationships, and just understanding how people interact with each other. That's something that I see all the time in different ways on the internet, like Google. I have a friend, she's actually a lawyer now. She told me, she's like, I Google everything. And what she does, if I have a question, Google it, search comes up. But with research, you also have to know how to properly use it, because there's a lot of things that are deceitful out there. Don't trust Wikipedia all the time. We all know that, but
you can go in and edit information on Wikipedia.
Right. Yeah. So don't trust Wikipedia all the time, but definitely I encourage everybody, like, whether, no matter where you are, how old you are, kids have Chromebooks. They're 1-to-1, so everybody has a Chromebook. Like, everybody should be out there typing in and learning stuff and researching stuff. And when I see my kids, I can see what they're looking at their computer. A lot of them are researching questions that they don't know, or researching things, even though they may be a math class, researching something that has nothing to do with math, but they're utilizing it to research and stuff. So that is a thing.
Agree with everything. Everything we're telling you all is definitely beneficial, and I think utilizing everything and even going beyond what we say is going to put you ahead in life and allow you to own education and use it in your own special way. The last thing that involves the aspects of education is utilizing mentors. Okay, I always was a firm believer in having somebody that I can look to for guidance, especially if it's somebody that had what I want in life. I do believe that in every stage and phase in your life, you should have a different mentor, because they're going to supply you with something different that the other one couldn't. So if I'm a person who literally is into learning how to program phones, I'm going to go to somebody who's in IT that programs phones for a living and allow them to be my mentor to show me what that life is like. You know, it's nothing like asking a person or questioning a person about things that you want to know that have the answers. It's very important to do that. But if you don't utilize a mentor, sometimes you often can be left with questions that are unanswered. You know, you don't want to have questions that are unanswered, and who's going to answer them for you if you don't have anybody to look to? And that's for every stage of your life. It doesn't matter how old you are. You should always pursue somebody that you can call your mentor. I personally have a mentor that I still talk to that I had when I was in undergrad in college. They make sure to, you know, feed me information based off of what they see us post or see me do on my social media, or ask me questions about if I know about this or not. And in this stage, you know, I still have people that I can look to ask questions about networking and being successful in giving people a proper message. It's very important.
Yeah, I definitely have mentors, had mentors, still have mentors in my life who I could talk to, whether that be professionally, just personally, spiritually. Again, I'm like holistic aspect. Like, if I have a mentor in every aspect, every area, and every chapter, every level in your life, I think it's important to have somebody that can help lead and guide. And I think it's important to be a mentor. Like, if you know somebody, because I think you learn a lot from being a mentor. You learn in that aspect too, and you're passing down knowledge to the next generation, which is important as well. So I think having a mentor and being a mentor are two important things.
Very important information here, people, with our educational series revolving education. Please understand what we are telling you. Go out, research this stuff, because it is very important. If you want to succeed and get past all the stuff that may be in place that hinders you, look it up. Stay tuned for the next video, and soon after that we will be doing, like we always say, a live town hall meeting discussing everything we go through in these videos that will allow people to face-to-face discuss the topic of education, especially when it pertains to the youth in the African American community. So we thank y'all. Hope y'all have a nice day.